is the season that wakes me alive, and fall is the season to contemplate life. Oh, yeah. I don't know what is it exactly.
Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, my name's Alexa Ray, and welcome to another video. I'm so glad you're here and I'm so glad you clicked on today's video. You guys already know what we are doing by the title, by the thumbnail. You guys love 24-hour readathons, and luckily I do too. Sometimes they do put me into a weird rut because reading for 24 hours can be pretty taxing on a person. Over the past few months, I've kind of put my own little twist on 24-hour readathons, and instead of reading for 24 hours straight, which I do, basically we read for 24 hours over the span of a few days, just so I can accurately see how many books I can read in 24 hours, as well as fully enjoy the books. Because when I read for 24 hours straight, I find that sometimes I give books lower ratings, and that's mainly because I'm getting tired and dozing off. It's not actually the book's fault that I'm dozing off, it's because I've been reading and up for 24 hours. So I like doing these types of videos because I feel like I'm able to accurately rate books and enjoy them to the fullest. That is what we're going to be doing in today's video. We're going to be reading for 24 hours. We're going to be seeing how many books I can read in 24 hours, which usually I range around 4 to 5 books in 24 hours depending on the length and the writing style. Some books I fly through just because the writing style is so easy and fast-paced. Other books take me a very long time to get through. But for this video specifically, we're also going to be seeing how many pages I can read in a certain amount of time. At the end of the video, we're going to count up all the pages I've read. I thought that'd be a fun little stat to add into this video because I've seen so many other booktubers recently film videos where they're trying to see how many pages they can read in a certain amount of time. I think that's a super fun challenge to test your reading pace, so I decided to add it in to today's 24-hour readathon. We read so many fun and exciting books in today's video, so grab a snack, grab a drink, sit back, relax, and let's hop in to the 24-hour readathon. When it comes to doing 24-hour readathons, it is essential to staying fresh during that 24-hour period where I'm just reading books back to back. And the way that I stay fresh is by using Native products, which is the sponsor of today's video. You guys already know I'm such a big Native girly. I use everything Native. I use their toothpaste, their lotion, their body wash, their deodorant. I've even recently been getting Chris into their products because they do have a line that is for men. I just love Native. They keep me feeling fresh all day. They have so many scents to choose from, and I just love the way I feel using all their products. Their deodorants offer up to 72 hours of odor protection, which is perfect for those 24-hour readathons, even 48-hour readathons, which I have done. But let's not talk about it. Something I love about Native's deodorant specifically though is that they use clean, simple ingredients that we're all familiar with, such as coconut oil and shea butter. They're also aluminum and paraben free, as well as cruelty free and vegan. Like I mentioned earlier, Native has a huge range of scents to choose from the subtle sweetness of vanilla with the beachiness of coconut, or the calming salty breeze with sea salt and cedar, or if you'd like something sweeter, you can enjoy the fruity sweetness of sweet peach and nectar. Whatever combination you can think of, they probably have it, to be honest. And they're also always coming out with limited edition scents, which is super fun. The texture of their deodorants are also incredible. It doesn't give off that sticky feeling when you're applying it, but instead it feels dry. I've been using these two scents the most, the vanilla and cactus flower and desert grass and sandalwood scents. These are actually part of the Fall Escape collection that Native has just come out with. These give off all the cozy and fall vibes. I think they're really great scents to transition from summer to fall. The other scent I have is the buttercream and French vanilla. Guys, this is giving off mad holiday vibes. This makes me feel like I'm baking Christmas cookies, and I'm here for it. I'm loving it. 3 deodorants from Native usually cost around $39, but they're doing a deal right now where if you use my link and my code AlexaRay3, you'll actually get 3 of them for only $27, which is a total steal. You can stock up now on their Fall Escape collection. Get ready for the holiday season. So stock up now and stay fresh with Native. We are gonna hop right into our 24-hour readathon. I am so very excited, and the first book we're gonna start off with is Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. I love Ali Hazelwood. You guys already know this. I am such a big Ali Hazelwood fan. I think she writes the most fun and exciting romances. I also really love that all of her books revolve around a woman in STEM. I love Ali Hazelwood's writing. I love her characters. The Love Hypothesis is still one of my favorite romances to this day. Love Theoretically is her newest one. It tells the story of Elsie and Jack. I know this is like an enemies to lovers trope, academic rivals trope. I'm also already obsessing over these characters. This cover is everything. I know a little bit about this. I know that Elsie is a theoretical physicist and Jack is an experimental physicist, and basically the two professions don't get along with each other. So I know that's kind of where the enemies to lovers come in. I haven't seen a lot on this book just yet, so I'm very excited to be jumping into it. The Love Hypothesis is still one of my favorite romances to this day. It was a 5-star read. Adam and Olive have my heart forever, and what I'm super excited about for Love Theoretically is that we're supposed to get a minor cameo of Olive and Adam. I cannot wait to see them. I can't wait to get a little glimpse into what life is like for them. I'm sure it's going to be a very small glimpse, but it just makes me so happy that we're going to see them briefly in this book. We are going to start the timer and hop right into it. So this is starting off totally different from what I thought it was going to be like. We are immediately jumping in to Elsie and Jack's story, and we're meeting them in a totally different setting than what I originally thought we would meet them in. It's very interesting. I can already see a minor conflict happening later on in the story because of the way they're meeting. So this is going to be very interesting. We have just hit the 1 hour mark. I'm on page 80, chapter 6. I feel like I'm flying through this, and I have to say I'm absolutely loving this so freaking much right now. I am living for Elsie and Jack. Guys, I'm just such a sucker for a good enemies to lovers. I'm living for their story. I love their banter, their bickering. We're watching Jack and Elsie go at each other because they study different sciences. They don't like each other. Something that definitely gets me with Ali Hazelwood books that can be a little bit challenging is they do revolve around science, and being that I am not a science girly, it is a little hard to follow sometimes, and I do find myself having to reread paragraphs and stuff like that just so I make sure I have a good understanding of what's actually going on in the story. For the most part, I have to say that I have been following along with the story pretty well so far. We're not too deep in the story just yet. We did just have a scene between Jack and Elsie that was definitely intense. There's definitely a lot of going back and forth. Jack is accusing Elsie of all these things. So there's already a lot of things going on. I can feel the tension, the pull between both characters, and I'm just really excited and intrigued to see where their story goes. But we are going to keep going. We're going to start the timer, see how far we can get, see how many pages we can read. I've read 80 pages in 1 hour. I'm so nervous. Okay. Something I am living for right now is the emails that Elsie receives from her students. So basically, Elsie is a theoretical physicist, but she's an adjunct? I don't know. She's basically a full-time teacher from my understanding, and she's teaching a gazillion classes every week and not getting paid very well for it, which is the reason why she's currently looking for a new job. But we get to take a look at some of the emails she receives from her students, and they are so funny, and it just makes me wonder, when I was in college, is this realistic? Were professors actually receiving emails like this from students? I could totally see students emailing professors these exact Jack complaints and questions. There's even an email in here from a student's mom about sharing her son's grades. It's very crazy, but it seems very realistic, and it just kind of makes me feel bad for some professors out there, because I can't imagine how hard it is to manage so many students. But anyways, some of the emails Elsie's receiving is just absolutely hilarious. One that I'm reading right now is, if I skip class to bring my dog to the groomer, does it count as an excused absence? P.S. I wouldn't ask, but he really needs a haircut. And I feel like someone would actually email their professor that in real life. So just reading this is hilarious for me right now. So we are around, I want to say like the 3-hour mark. I just made it to page 220 something. We're like at the halfway mark. Doing a halfway check-in. That's what I'm doing. I'm so tired already. I am so stinking tired right now. We are a little bit more than halfway through Love Theoretically. Guys, it's giving me all the happy butterflies. I am living for Jack and Elsie right now. Jack, dare I say, he is giving Adam Carlson a run for his money. I'm adoring Jack's character so much. Adam Carlson is still top tier, but Jack is a very, very close second. The way he cares for Elsie, takes care of her, the typical stuff. You know. You guys know. You know what I swoon over when it comes to fictional men, relationships. It's just, everything is perfect right now in this book. I am living for the relationship. We are definitely seeing a turn of events when it comes to the relationship and the enemies to lovers. We're definitely starting to see the lovers part of it. I'm just living for them right now. They are so stinking sweet. I am quite nervous for the conflict. I feel like we're finding out so much information, and I'm very nervous for what the conflict is going to be. I think that Elsie and Jack are definitely endgame, and they're going to make it through whatever conflict is thrown their way. I'm just like really nervous for the conflict, basically. Again, also not how I thought the story was going to go, and I was a little bit surprised by the little twist we get in the storyline, because basically Elsie is applying for a new job because she's not happy with her current position. I was just very surprised with how it ended up, I guess you could say, because I thought something totally different was going to happen. I'm still happy with like how it worked out, because now we're getting more Jack and Elsie together, and I am living for these two characters. I'm loving them so much. We're also getting minor glimpses into Elsie's family and Jack's family. They both have family members who don't appreciate them enough and kind of take advantage of them, so they're connecting on that type of level. But Jack's grandmother is absolutely hilarious. She's definitely one of my favorite characters, along with his brother George. Elsie's best friend Cece is also just like a great character that I am absolutely enjoying right now. She is hilarious. And yeah, we're kind of just watching Jack and Elsie on their high right now. The story is going upwards and I'm loving it, but of course I'm nervous because we're gonna hit that point in the story where there's a conflict and everything goes down, and it's gonna be horrible. The build up right now is going amazing, and I'm swooning over these two characters. I also am loving how Jack just knows Elsie. Like right from the beginning, he was like calling her out on all her BS. I don't know, something about that is just really getting me, because Elsie has spent her entire life trying to be the perfect person for everyone she meets. She molds herself into the person that is ideal for the person that she's talking to, so she's never really been her true self, and Jack understands that, so he tries his best to pull out the real Elsie throughout the story, and I'm just like living for it so much. They're so stinking sweet. But I am flying through this. I honestly think I'm going to be able to finish this book before I hit the 6-hour mark. 6 hours is typically the average time it takes for me to finish a 350-page book, but I feel like I'm going to finish this before the 6 hours. I'm trying really hard to fly through it. I'm already flying through it. It's a super fast and easygoing going read, but I'm like pushing myself more because I want to see how many pages I can read in this 24-hour period. I am in shock with how much I'm loving it. It's giving me the same feeling that the Love Hypothesis gave me. I also love that I'm learning like these little things about physics. I also think that's another really fun thing when it comes to Ali Hazelwood books, is that you do kind of walk away learning a few little things about the science in the book, and I just think that's so fun. But I am getting unready right now because I'm getting very, very tired and I know I'm going to fall asleep soon. I'm going to try my very, very hardest to finish this book before I pass out tonight. Oh gosh, I think I have another 200 pages. Wait, no, I think I have like 150 pages. I feel like we can get through it tonight, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Long time no chat. We finished Love Theoretically this morning. I was kind of in a rush this morning because I went to get my lashes done. So I don't know how Ali Hazelwood does it. Honestly, I loved this. This was absolutely incredible. Definitely an easy 5-star read for me. This made me feel the same way I felt when I was reading The Love Hypothesis. I still love The Love Hypothesis a little bit more than this one, but this was so good. I really enjoyed this. I loved Elsie and Jack's story. I thought they were so sweet. I loved how Jack just looked out for her and took care of her throughout the entire story. I love how he just brought out the real Elsie in the end. I feel like that was so relatable to read about in this book because Elsie is definitely a perfectionist. She wants everyone to like her. So it was really cool to see Jack come in and help bring out the real Elsie. I think Elsie also did a lot for Jack. He definitely was holding a lot of grudges in this book and he was hanging on to a lot of hatred, and Elsie kind of showed him how to let it go and showed him that he can be happy without holding on to the past. I thought this was so good. It was so sweet. The relationship was so sweet. I love Ali Hazelwood. She is just such an incredible author. She has such a captivating writing style where when you start reading her books you don't want to put them down, and I really appreciate that with authors. If they can keep my attention to the point where I totally lose track of time, I don't want to put the book down, that's like one of my favorite things when it comes to reading. I can escape into the storyline and into the world, and I really felt that way about this. So this was absolutely adorable. 5 stars. My phone died, by the way, so that's why I don't have my timer here. It was like 5 hours and 32 minutes, 30 something minutes. I'm very proud of myself because I told you guys in the beginning that I wanted to try and finish this before 6 hours. It usually takes me on average 6 hours to finish a book this length. So in 5.5 hours, I read 384 pages. I loved this. I highly recommend. Read this in the fall time. You won't regret it. When we came back from my lash appointment, I did decide to sit down and start our next read in the video. I've only read it for like an hour and a half and I'm on page 114. I'm definitely reading this at a way slower pace. But our next read in our readathon is Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mayer, I believe is how you pronounce it. This cover is absolutely stunning. I love all the details all around it. It's so cool. And the edges are also sprayed red, which I love. But this is our next read in the reading vlog. Like I said, I've been reading for a little bit over an hour. We're on page 114, chapter 17. This tells the story of Evie and the villain. I have to say, it's not like what I thought it was going to be. It's kind of slow. There's definitely a slow burn in here, which I love a good slow burn. The writing style is really interesting. I think the author wrote it to be a little bit more on the comedy side, which I think is really cool. There have been a ton of moments where I've just found myself giggling because some really weird stuff goes on in here. Evie's inner dialogue is pretty hilarious, as well as the things she says to Tristan on a daily basis. Basically, Tristan is this big bad villain in the kingdom. Everyone fears him, they stay away from him, and he does very terrible, gruesome things to people because he's the villain. Evie is just a girl who lives in the kingdom. She is struggling to to support her father and sister. The job she was working for at first, I think she quit or they fired her. Something weird happened at her previous job. We haven't really touched on it just yet in this, but I'm kind of sus. I feel like something happened with her and her boss, and I think her boss did something bad. I don't know. I'm very sus about it though. Some crazy series of events take place and she ends up becoming the assistant to the villain, which is a crazy title. She is very shocked at first, but not in a scared way. Evie doesn't get scared of the gruesome, terrible things that the villain does, which I thought was really interesting. Whereas other people and like normal people are really terrified of him. So yeah, there's a lot of like world building at the moment. We're kind of just seeing Evie take on this assistant position. She's aiding to the villain, doing paperwork for the villain. It's really weird. It's not what I thought it was gonna be like. There's definitely like a grumpy meets sunshine in here. It's a slow burn trope. I think it may be a he falls first trope. I'm getting that vibe right now. We're only 100 pages in. It is on the slow side, but I'm very intrigued to see what happens. I like the story. It's very, very different from anything I've ever read. So we are gonna keep going, see what happens. Okay guys, we are doing a little halfway check-in. I'm a little bit more than halfway. I'm on page 209, chapter 34. I don't know how I'm feeling about this. We're also a little past the 5-hour mark with reading this. I don't know. It's not giving, if you know what I mean. There's something that's just not giving about this. And I actually was reading about how this originally started off as like a TikTok series, I think during 2020. The author got a lot of positive feedback and she wound up turning it in to the book. I am enjoying it. I'm enjoying Evie and Tristan's story. I do love the going back and forth between them. There's definitely a lot of funny scenes in this story, and I'm loving Evie's point of view because she just has a lot of funny inner dialogue. I have to say this is reading more like a YA fantasy book opposed to a adult romantasy type of book. I feel like this is fantasy book with a little splash of romance. There's not a lot of romance in here. I'm hoping we get a little bit more romance towards the end of this, but I don't know. I feel like I'm just waiting for something crazy to happen or some fun romance scene to happen, and the book just never gives me what I want, so I'm always left frustrated. It's very cute though. Like I said, I am enjoying the storyline. So that's what's been happening so far. I am a little disappointed. I've also had the book pages kind of staining my fingers, like the edges of them, but we will see what happens. Fingers crossed we get something out of this. I don't know what I want out of this, but I want something. We just wrapped up Assistant to the Villain. I am actually so surprised right now. This ended up being way better than I thought it was going to be. In the beginning, I was super nervous because it was definitely moving at a way slower pace than I thought it was going to. And I knew it was going to be a slow burn type of read. It was just a little bit too slow for me, and every time I thought something big was gonna happen, it just didn't happen, and it left me kind of disappointed, but the ending definitely made up for it. I want to say like the last 100 pages of this book made up for everything because I absolutely loved it. It's not that I didn't like the first part of this book. I did. I liked the world building. I liked meeting all the characters. I think I said it before, but I love Evie's inner dialogue. I think she's so cute and funny. The banter between her and the villain is really good. It's very witty. It was really cute. The entire story was really cute. I just wish there was was more romance. That's the only complaint I really have about this. We're getting that tension throughout the story with the slow burn, and I absolutely loved it. I loved their dynamic, their relationship. Again, I always thought something was gonna happen, like we were leading up to something big and then nothing would happen, and I would get so frustrated. So that's the only downside to this. If there was more romance in this, I think this would easily be a 5-star read for me because I did really enjoy it. I enjoyed the storyline. It does leave off on a cliffhanger, which makes me really upset because this is a fairly new book. It literally just came out, I think, a few days ago. So we're most likely not going to see book 2 for a little while, which makes me upset, but I am looking forward to it. I definitely will pick up book 2. As for a rating, I'm very torn between a 3.5-star rating and a 4-star rating. I think I have to do 3.5 because I loved the storyline, I loved the characters, but the romance aspect of this was just lacking completely and it was driving me crazy. So I think I'm gonna settle on a 3.5 for this, but nonetheless, it was absolutely incredible. If you're looking for a fun, witty fantasy type of read and you don't want that heavy romance in it, this is absolutely perfect for you. But I'm gonna settle on a 3.5. I loved it. I would definitely reread it and I can't wait for book 2, but I just was expecting more romance out of it, and I think that's why I was a little disappointed. But nonetheless, it was so fun. I'm very surprised at how much I ended up liking it at the end because we hit that halfway mark and I was definitely iffy on it. There wasn't a lot really happening. It was definitely worth the last half of the book because it just made up for it. That book was 340 pages. It took me about 6 hours and a half to read. It was very slow for me. I don't know why, but it took me so long to read. We're creeping up on the 12-hour mark, and now we're gonna hop in to our next read, which is Things We Hide from the Light by Lucy Score. I am so excited for this one. The third book is literally coming out in a few days and I'm just so stinking excited for it. I have been waiting for Lucian and Sloane's story for so long now. I honestly wish I could skip this one and just go to book 3, but I feel like I have to read this one before it. I can't skip Nash's story. This is about Nash and Lena. It's a bad girl, good guy trope. This is on the chunkier side, and when I read book 1, I remember it taking me a very long time to read, so I'm a little nervous, not gonna lie, but we are gonna jump right into it. Okay, so we are an hour into this. I'm on chapter 7, page 73. It's okay so far. I'm not in love with it, but I'm not necessarily disliking it so far. It is kind of weird, and this is purely because I'm not used to reading books like this, but it is kind of weird to think that Nash is like the good guy and Lena is kind of like the troublemaker in this. I rarely read stories where the girl is the troublemaker, so it's kind of interesting reading like a reverse trope like that. I also have to say it's very weird seeing Nash's character right now. We're definitely seeing a little bit of a different side to him, but there are things that happen in book 1 to Nash that kind of give him a rocky start in this one. It doesn't seem like the Nash that we met and fell in love with in book 1. He's definitely trying to deal with a lot going on. He's coping with things that have happened, and it's just kind of weird. I don't know. It's also hard because in the back of my mind, I'm just trying to power through this because I want to get to Lucian and Sloane's story. Hello, everybody. A lot has happened and a lot of time has gone by since the last clip in this video. It is September 14th. I think I started this video like September 1st. Since the last clip though, your girl took a little vacay down to Florida. She got some sun. I actually got a really bad sun rash. I don't even think you can tell on camera. But yeah, we took a cutie little trip down to Florida. We got some sun, we had some fun. I actually wound up going on that trip I think 2 days after the last clip I filmed for this video, and we had started Things We Hide from the Light by Lucy Score. I didn't end up finishing it in time, so I took it with me on vacation and I spent the week down in Florida reading it and just kind of relaxing and taking a break. I didn't want to rush or force myself to finish this book in time and then rush to edit the video because I just knew it wouldn't be like good. are like my definition of good. So I want to make sure I'm putting out the best content I can for you, and I just felt that if I rushed it and rushed the editing, it wouldn't have been the best, and you guys deserve the best. So instead of rushing to finish this book within the 2 days that I had and edit the video, I decided to take it down to Florida with me. We read it over the course of the week I was down there, and I'm really happy I did because the vibes were immaculate. I'm very, very surprised with how it went because I think I mentioned it in the last clip, but I was a little iffy so far. I wasn't in love with it, but I also wasn't like hating it. It was very slow in the beginning, and I had a hard time getting into it and getting like obsessed with it and the characters and all that stuff. And I think it's because she puts a lot of extra details in her books that a lot of people might say is unnecessary. I don't mind that she puts like all the extra details and like fluff in there. I do think because of it, you get a better understanding of the characters and who they are. I think it makes the characters in the book seem more real and more personable. Nonetheless, I think we hit like the halfway mark in this, and I was absolutely in it. I was loving it. I was loving Nash and Lena's characters. Their story was a super fun and wild one. I don't know if I necessarily like this one more than book one. Maybe just a little bit. I think I rated book one 4 stars. This is also 4 stars. The only thing that really kept book one and this one from being a 5-star read is just because there's so much in the book, and it definitely is a slower read for me. There's a lot of action in here, which I really enjoyed. I love the found family in this series so far. We get so many glimpses into Naomi and Knox's life in this book, which I absolutely love. We also get so many more glimpses of Lucian and Sloane. I cannot wait to read their book. I definitely was surprised that I ended up loving the bad girl, good guy trope in this because I think I mentioned it, but it definitely is a little bit different for me. If anything, there's just like minor differences between Lena and Nash that they butt heads over. Other than that, I really liked it. It was very insta-lovey as well. Very minor scenes between Nash and Lena that kind of spark an enemies to lovers. It's definitely not the entire book, I have to say, because the majority of it is definitely insta-lovey. There's like a little bit of tension between the two of them. They bicker a lot, and it's a whole lot of fun. And it also kind of branches off of the story from Things We Never Got Over, so I definitely would say start with Things We Never Got Over if you're going to read these books. That's all I have for you guys. I actually don't know how long it took me to read that book. I didn't end up timing it when I was down in Florida and reading it. I kind of was just like mood reading and relaxing and taking my time, and I didn't time it, and that was the whole point of this video. We were supposed to see how many books I read in 24 hours as well as how many pages I can read in 24 hours, and did not complete it. So it happens. Everyone has like a video here and there that, you know, just doesn't go according to plan, and that's okay. We're gonna move on from it. I thought this was still a fun reading vlog. I wanted to put it out there for you guys because we do read some very fun, interesting reads. I promise our next 24-hour readathon will be way better than this one. I got a little carried away with taking my time with it, so I'll do better next time with the planning. But that is all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had fun. Comment down below who your favorite couple is from the Knock 'Em Out series. I'm going to say my favorite couple is Lucian and Sloane, even though I have not read their story yet. I just know they're going to be my favorite because it's like an enemies to lovers, and she's a librarian. But with all that being said, I'm going to stop rambling now. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you in my next video.
If spring is the season that wakes me alive, then fall is the season to contemplate life. Oh, yeah. I don't know what is it exactly in this